Wanderers, welcome to the Wandering Dutchman podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by our buddy Matt Krieg of Krieg Insurance. February is the month of love. If you don't believe us, go ahead and Google it. Google will always tell you the truth. Speaking of love, let's talk about the loved ones in your life. Have you sat down with a life insurance professional to discuss your life insurance coverage? A better question may even be, do you have life insurance? That is where our trusted friend, Matt Krieg of Krieg Insurance comes in. Located in the heart of Huntingburg, Matt is ready to assist you in protecting your family, protecting your assets, and protecting your family's future needs by finding the right life insurance and right life insurance amounts that you need. Life insurance shouldn't be complicated, and it also shouldn't be bought over the internet. Give Matt a call today and don't hesitate. Because we can't predict the future, but we can try and protect those we love.
The Wandering Dutchman podcast.
Where none of us are Dutch, but we all live in Holland, Indiana. Join us where we talk about what we all wonder about. This is the Wandering Dutchman podcast, coming to you from Smoker's Lounge.
That's right.
The Wandering Dutchman. Yeah, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Wandering Dutchman podcast, brought to you by Krieg Insurance. We are back here in the lounge on this chilly, chilly night, because in real time it is February 20th. When you're listening to this, it's Friday. Hopefully, if you do. Friday. And if you listen,
Well, there it is.
Yep. If you listened to Wednesday's episode, you know the blonde-haired lady at the end of the table is the great white hunter, the great white canoodler. Because that we canoodling? Canoodling. Isn't that with the catfish and the whole thing?
No, it's just noodling.
Drop the
Canoodling.
Canoodling is what you do with folks that aren't your spouse.
Oh, there we go.
Is that the definition?
No,
I think.
it's just called cheating.
She needs
You
no introduction.
uncultured swine.
There it is. She needs no introduction because Gosh.
Jesus,
You
get it together,
listen
pal.
to Wednesday's episode.
You're doing great.
Sure did.
It's our buddy, friend of the program. Now she has to come back anytime we invite her.
Especially for bacon.
Bacon.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, she's going to be a judge in that.
We haven't talked about that yet.
Yeah,
I'm hoping.
You
Here's
sure
hoping.
did.
yeah,
Did we talk about the
yeah.
bacon all?
Very early on.
Okay.
Miss Allison Vogus.
Hello.
Back again.
Back. She didn't leave.
again.
She didn't leave. That maybe could have been because we parked her in, but that's beside the point. We're back here to talk a little bit more because we've had a lot of fun with this conversation.
That's right.
Just a little bit of recap on Wednesdays. We talked a lot of hunting, some fishing, some advocacy through conservation and the group she's involved in. And we're going to get into some more.
Not canoodling.
Not canoodling.
Just noodling.
Just noodling, which we have
Now, what do you
committed.
call it? It's not noodling. You said something different.
Grabbling.
Grabbling.
Grabbling, hand fishing, noodling.
All right.
Which
You
we've
guys
committed.
will learn fast enough. Cause
We've committed.
It'd have to be an
Have
awful
you?
big fish to
They're
get his
committed.
big old bear paws in there.
Have you seen
Listen.
some of the fish that they pull out of these
listen,
holes?
my biggest one was 70 pounds. That sucker bit me way up here.
Does it hurt?
Nah. Adrenaline
Adrenaline
makes
makes
up for
it-
a lot of it.
No, it's hey,
Are
Dave.
there
It's,
marks left?
I mean, I still got a scar from that 70-pounder up here,
No,
but
so it hurt a little
you
bit.
can't see him that much. It's like, it's just a flesh wound.
'Tis but a flesh wound.
but I think it's when we do like the post noodling podcast that we'll do with the ladies and us, where that we'll start to feel that pain.
Yeah.
Unless we've got a
Yeah.
driver to get us back from Ren Lake.
I
But
was wrist deep in that mouth.
Yeah.
I think it'll be good.
I'm ready.
I'm
I got a
excited for it.
story. I got paired with a guy. We were fishing it was a
is.
IBFN qualifier, the Indiana Bass Federation Nation state qualifier. We're
IBFN.
fishing a 2-day super up at Tanner's Creek which is like it's a finger off of the Ohio River up by Lawrenceburg, Indiana.
Yeah.
And we were qualifying for the Indiana state team to represent the Bass Federation. So honestly, this is the quickest way for a Joe Schmo like me or you to qualify for the Classic. So we were like, if you make your state team, you fish the super regionals, and then you fish the big dog, and then if you win the big dog, then you get a spot in the Classic. And I got, so it's a random, it's 8 guys on the same team. You get paired with either boater, non-boater. I was a non-boater. Got paired with a guy from like northern Indiana.
Yeah.
And he had a really nice boat. And he was telling me, he was like, so if you got a shit, keep toilet paper, just let me know. We can, we'll just make it work the best we can.
Now, did you tell him you shit 8 times a day?
I mean, yeah, no, I didn't tell him that, but yeah, I'm a heavy shitter. But anyway,
He figured it out.
yeah. Anyway, so he was telling, so then the poop talk ensued, you know what I mean? After
Right.
that, kind of stuff. And I was like, yeah, man, I can only imagine. He's like, yeah, I've been in a tough spot before. And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah. We were crappie fishing at Wren Lake, and we were absolutely.
I was wondering where you were going to tie it back into what we were talking about.
We were destroying the fish, and around like a marina, there was like just random ass brush pile that was very close to a marina, and he said it was early enough spring where we were not the only people that were out there with the same frame of mind, and he said I was by myself and dropped the guy off, and he said I had to shit and there was no way I was going to make it back, and I had to like make a bed of paper towels in the floor of my boat and shit in the floor of his boat. So
Tough spot.
yeah, that was wild. That was a Wren Lake tie there. That's really the only connection of Wren Lake that I have is this guy telling a story about shitting in his boat.
Hey, your ADD is strong, my friend.
Yeah.
That is.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about
Changing gears.
Changing topics. You're on the socials because you do some of the content creation through Facebook. You've got some stuff there. Instagram.
How much a month do you make on OnlyFans?
Listen,
mother. Some things you just don't talk about.
Blake, turn the volume down real quick.
Would that be wild if she just opened up?
I'm going to guess no.
Yeah, she doesn't have one.
Because if we get that far.
Yeah.
It's not an OnlyFans, guys.
It's
We're
Foot
talking about hunting.
Finder. Come
Feet
on. I
Finder.
have great feet.
Do you really?
No, we're not going to do that.
Dave has these real Ninja Turtle.
Now, hold
looking
on.
suckers.
I started a Foot Finder account a few years ago
with AI generated.
Did it.
I
Yeah.
swear to God.
How do you think he bought the
No, I
old buggy?
never made money, but I would go into these AI things where you type in a
You describe.
paragraph and then it
Describe
makes a
the
picture,
perfect
and I'm like,
Yes.
voluptuous feet in the moonlight,
Yeah, dude. Like
covered in lace.
He said,
but it'd come out with these Ninja Turtle looking motherfuckers where they had like one
3
huge
toes.
toe in the middle,
like 3 toes.
little pinky toe, and then a big toe that
Hey.
was like the size of my face.
AI is not quite there.
It
so
wasn't there.
so the
Not
question to OnlyFans is no. So any of our listeners that are like,
Sorry, guys.
But
Really?
I'm gonna start one.
Currently cannot be found on Foot Finder.
but so people can find you because you post a lot of your hunts
Yeah.
and a lot of your your expeditions.
Yes.
So that's cool.
Sweating.
I know, Dave, you're perspiring quite well. Yeah.
By this fake.
So
Yeah.
you more like, are you more on the Instagrams or would you be more on the Facebooks? Where are you at?
A little bit of both. So Facebook, Instagram, TikTok,
Oh, yeah.
Tick.
Yeah.
the TikTok.
Where did we find her? Did we find her on TikTok when
Well,
she
I've
was
known her forever.
how?
I just
Well,
met her tonight.
Here's
Mud
the
volleyball?
You want no? Never played. Lee never invited me.
Yeah.
When
Where's your Allison Vogus tie? Because when this all came up, I was like, how in the hell do you know Allison Vogus?
So back in the day when I was working for Quality Craft Construction, we would eat at the Santa Claus Subway, and I worked with Kyle Lambeck, who's I didn't go to Heritage Hills, but he's my age.
Yeah.
And so that's how I got to know Blake. And then I don't know if you guys were married. I don't know how long you've been married, but
10 years.
so
A long
Decade.
time.
so it's been so you guys were just dating then.
Yeah.
And that's how I got to know Allison. And that's what it was. We'd eat at the Subway in Santa Claus every day. They'd pull their trailer in, and
It was like an everyday thing. That was
Yeah.
the one thing we looked forward to. And then you get a cookie. Whoever messed up for the day had to buy a cookie. Like, let's say, because we had the mowing.
Corporal punishment.
We were mowing then. So
Mhm.
let's say, I
Whoever
ran
ran
over
over
somebody's
something.
lawn ornament and broke it or something. I was like,
Yeah.
oh.
Poor gnome.
Allison asked about cookies. But
Cookie
yeah,
day.
so Subway was like that was the one thing we looked
because in the off season, like in the non like house building season, they would work all winter down there at Holiday World. So that's kind of how I got to know that a little bit. And then friend of the program, Lee Vogler, who's still here, and our buddy old Nine Fingers, Seth Clem,
8 and 9.5.
9.5, 9 3/4. That's a shirt idea. We need to get that going.
Unreal.
9.5.
Yeah. So that's how I kind of knew. And then I knew
9.5
she did.
fingers out of 10.
I knew she did a lot of stuff, posted a lot of stuff, and I was like, I don't want you guys to take this as a shot, but every once in a while, it's nice to have somebody fresh here in the lounge to talk to.
I'm fresh.
Fresh.
No, I get it.
It's the first time I've been described as fresh.
Fresh. I bet you weren't fresh after that Africa trip.
Just kidding. Oh, no. That Africa trip.
Let's talk about it.
Egats.
Woo!
Hold on.
Yes.
I think the first time you really showed up on it was probably around your book, which we'll talk about that later in the episode. But when she was making the dandelion fritters.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, because friend of the program, Andy McHugh, said that dandelion, that whole
I remember
yeah.
bitching about my dandelion.
Wait, I feel like
cancer
I missed
stuff.
I feel like I missed it.
No.
Dandelion fritters are awesome.
Well, yeah, I know, but like, there's
it
a
was
little
something we
inside
found.
joke.
I've got a hell
little
of a
inside
dandelion
joke between another friend of the program that involved dandelions, and then I sent it, and this and that, and then blah 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 happened, and then I'm like, holy shit, she's like frying dandelions, and I myself have had them before.
Okay.
And I was like, holy shit. And then I looked at the name and I'm like, oh my God, that's Allison. It was just randomly on my news or my For You page. And
Your phone's always listening.
I know, for sure. But yeah. So that's kind of how I knew. And then obviously with Blake, you know what I mean? I've known Blake forever, through
We
other
probably like you more than Blake.
mutual friends.
Previous.
Yeah, such a douchebag.
And he's not even
Whoa,
here.
sponsor of the
guy.
show.
Shots fired.
Hell of a guy.
He died when I was like, guess where I'm gonna be this week? He was like,
So,
buddy, we'll get him in here eventually.
yeah. So Africa for a month.
Yes,
4 weeks.
long time.
How in the hell did that work?
So,
How did it come about?
well, okay. So we don't do any work in the winter. Wintertime is kind of our time to just relax because we're like really pushing spring, fall, those applications. It's like running a marathon. So when you stop, it's like, whew, I just need some time to refocus, get my life back together,
Lock in
before,
It's
we
time to go again.
Yeah, because literally next week we're probably going to start spraying again. So, we just take some time, go someplace warm. It is summer in Africa at the moment,
I bet.
and so
Well, that's how the northern and southern hemisphere work.
It
It's
is.
the
It's
opposite.
like south of the
Yeah.
equator.
Unless you're a flat
it's
earth.
very nice.
That's
No,
true.
But I've always wanted to go to Africa. It's one of those. I've been, I've traveled south. Let's see, South America, Asia, Europe. I've like done all of the things, but Africa was one place I've never been. And so Sway this year was old enough so we unenroll him from school while we're gone, and then we kind of homeschool him, and then we re-enroll him when we come back. But he hit 8 this year, and we're like, that's a good age probably to go to Africa. I didn't realize though that Africa, everything in Africa wants to kill you.
Yeah.
So, looking at a map of Africa, Miss Allison, you said you were in Namibia.
Namibia.
Starts with an N, not an M, big guy.
That's why I said Namibia.
Pretty
That's
close.
not what she said.
It's Namibia.
But okay.
That's how you say it?
Namibia. Yeah.
Namibia.
Namibia.
No.
This makes great.
I have-
radio.
But there
Can I-
is
can I-
Zambia, so that's probably where.
Can
he's
I
getting
tell you,
it.
this is the
Process.
God's honest truth?
Yeah.
I was today years old when I realized that this giant word with an M an N was not Nambia.
Well, there is Zambia. So I feel like, and that is also an African country. We also went to Zambia.
That's
so
100%
that's where I'm-
Namibia.
It is Namibia.
Yeah, let's get on to it with it because we can argue about it all day. So the Africa trip just comes about. You wanted to go,
Huh.
Yeah.
and so it just
So literally what we had planned was we were going to go to Kenya for 2 weeks.
Were
We
you
had
going to do
planned
some
this
running?
months before. Probably, I'm not much of a runner. That's probably why
Us
we
either.
decided
I
not
know we
to go
look
to
like
Kenya.
it, but we're big runners.
So
there.
2 weeks before our flight out, we decided no, we're not going to do Kenya. So we had to we replanned our trip. A week before we flew out, we had no itinerary. We just knew we were flying to Cape Town and then we were going to go to Namibia. We had no plans. Fortunately, I had a guy in Namibia who had reached out to me and we kept in contact also via social media. He owned actually a hunting resort there in Namibia. And so we called him the week before we left and he was like, well, here's what you can do. Like, I'll give you a map, but here's, and so he kind of helped us map out Namibia and make an itinerary. And so, yeah, a week before we
So
left
you
for Africa,
did-
we had no plans.
so no
no plans.
travel agent. You guys
No.
do it self plan.
Yes.
So you didn't.
And
take,
I'm
you
telling
didn't
you, we
take
didn't-
firearms with you. They had them there for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. He had well, and we weren't planning on hunting. It's actually not even hunting season there. We just went to like see the lodge and he had some people, he's working on building, another lodge there on his property. So the construction workers, he wanted to get some meat for. So he was like, hey, do you want to kill an oryx and to help provide meat for my workers? And I was like, sure. So yeah, it turned into like a really cool hunt through the bush, like stalking this oryx and
Wow.
yeah. But I mean, at the same time, like, it's not anything like I'm not bringing home a mount or anything. They
Right.
literally cooked the head, and like
They use it all.
they use it all. Apparently, the cheek meat from my oryx like is part of the like
Primo.
primo meat on that animal. So
Hmm.
they wheelbarrowed the whole thing off. But,
So they don't like. What's that kind of regulation look like to hunt? Do you have to have
so you have to have,
tags or
yeah,
because of his designation as like a hunting resort, or if it's for food, it's food because they don't have a Aldi's down the street.
So if you're trophy hunting, I think you have to have certain permits and like a license and things like that. But since I was there hunting for and like it wasn't even season, but if it's his property, he's allowed to take whatever animals off his property to feed locals, to feed himself, to fill his freezer, and anybody can kill that animal. So he let me take the oryx. And
So is he not considered a local?
yes, he is.
So he's born.
Fourth generation Namibian. So
His family was probably British colonizers down there.
yeah, they were
English?
from Germany
Germany?
originally. Namibians like German settled.
Was
so,
it?
yeah.
That's the kind of
It's
unique.
like Jasper in Africa.
Yeah. No, it really is. I mean, all the foods
Are they white people?
very similar.
yeah,
Yeah.
the picture.
Yeah.
Well, there's a real big issue going on in South Africa right now with that.
Yes.
There has been we don't talk politics on this show.
Blood
but
diamonds?
no, you got to go further north.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a little bit. So like, let's talk about that. Like personal
Okay.
security wise, like, do you guys feel safe all the time? Like, were there some moments where you're like, it's pretty sketchy? Like, we get the animals want to kill you, but there's also
yeah.
because I had a girl I went to law school with. They went to South Africa and they had a security detail the entire time they were there
Yeah.
because kidnappings and all that other stuff.
And that's a big deal. And so when I first said I wanted to go to Africa, I was like all wrapped up in, I want to see elephants and I want to see this and that. A week before we left, we almost canceled our trip because if you go online to the government website, it's like murders, kidnappings, criminal, blah, blah, blah. And it's like
Yeah.
level 2, whatever.
Yeah,
But at the same time, if you look up Italy, it has the same security, like the same level warnings from the U.S. government. So, I personally, Blake and I have both done a lot of traveling. We've both been in some really sketchy places in the world. So both of us were like, okay, we can handle this, whatever, we come across. We as long as we're careful, we're street smart, we'll be good. But we did go without a travel agency. We just kind of did it on our own. With that being said, we were going to fly into Johannesburg the last week and then make our way up to Kruger. And we talked to several people and they were like, yeah, it's probably not the best idea. Like,
I mean, they have a real issue going on right
murdered,
now.
Like,
they have a
several
real issue
people have
going
been
on right now.
kidnapped. And yeah, so we actually ended up canceling those plans. But aside from that, I felt very safe. We didn't go out at night. Like, we didn't go mainly because animals at night, wildlife, you have to be careful about. And also, people, depending on if you're in a city. Yeah, like freaking people.
Cannibals.
But it's nothing you probably wouldn't look out for. It's just like you would be careful in a city in the U.S. too.
Like Evansville.
Middle of the night. Like,
Yeah.
you just have to be.
Or deaf.
Kind of the
just
time I
have to
almost
be smart about things.
walked down an alley in Detroit.
Yeah.
Well, we were.
You'd have to swim down an alley in Detroit now.
Yeah.
Did you see all that?
Well, they had.
Or ice skate.
So there's a Greek.
Nutty.
So the casino's like in Greektown in Detroit, and I was there for a law school buddy's bachelor party, and we were going like I could see where we were going through the alley, and I was like, "We'll just cut." And he's like, "No, we're not cutting through anything. We're gonna stay on the sidewalk, and we'll walk around the block."
Yeah.
I was like, "Okay, yeah,
You
makes
have-
sense."
No, we literally heard stories about muggings and people being murdered and things like that. So it's not a joke, but you have to be smart. And also, if you know people, like many of my friends who've gone there for African like hunting safaris and stuff, like they're literally picked up from the airport, taken. But also, we felt safe the whole time. We never had any issues. And so I think a lot of that is just people being afraid of.
What the unknown?
Yeah.
So where else have you got? You mentioned damn near all over the globe. Where else have you been? That's of highlight, like another favorite place or whatever.
Peru is like one of my favorite places I've ever traveled to. So Peru. And then from Peru, went into Bolivia for a little bit. That's where it got a little sketchy. It was Bolivia. They don't like Americans. I was Canadian while I was there for a while.
Yeah.
But
How good is your Canadian accent?
oh, it's not good, eh?
Sorry. Sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry. My non-existent Canadian accent, but I was Canadian while I was there. But yeah. Actually, in Peru, I was by myself in like this big market, and I love telling the story because I was by myself, and I was only like white girl, right? And on this street full of Peruvians who are all a little bit shorter than me. So I stood out like a sore thumb. Well, I had a purse on my side and it had a buckle. And I felt somebody bump me. I lifted the buckle. And I was like, what? I swore I buckled that. And I lifted the outside pouch. My phone had been in it. Phone was still there. Rebuckled it. Started walking again. Felt another bump. Lifted it. The outside pouch. Phone's gone. But I remembered the first time I checked, like whenever I checked my pouch, this guy behind me had a bright blue shirt on. I remembered it because everybody else kind of blended in. So, like, the second time I lifted my pouch, my phone's gone. I turn around and I see this bright blue shirt going in the opposite direction.
Pickpocket.
So I freaking took off after that guy. Like, I was like, not today.
You're going to hand out some Canadian
No,
justice.
sir. I ran that dude down. I grabbed him by his shirt and I twisted. I was like, you have my phone. Give me my phone back. And he starts talking back to me, which I can speak a little bit of Spanish, so I can translate enough, but I can't.
Donde mi telefono.
Like, so he's talking to me. Exactly. He's talking to me, and we're doing a little Spanglish. We have that going on. So he's speaking to me. He was like, no, I don't have your phone. I don't know what you're talking about. I was like, you have my phone. I know you do. Give me my phone back. And meanwhile, I'm still holding onto his shirt. And he's like trying to tell me this guy across the street. He was like, no, that guy has it. Whatever. And then he takes out another phone. He's like, here you go. And it wasn't my phone. I was like, no, you have my phone. Give me my phone back. And he jerks away. And I still have a really tight hold on his shirt, and his shirt rips. And then he was like, he just stopped, and he was so mad, and he takes out my phone, and he hands it to me, and then he I let him go.
Darts off.
Darts off.
Sometimes,
What a badass.
well, sometimes the reality of it is that's how they grow up and raised and know.
Yeah.
So if you respond in kind to that, they're like, we're not going to.
I don't think he was prepared for this little white girl to run him down either. So at the same time, it was the dumbest thing I've ever done in my life.
Crazy Canadian,
Do not ever do that. I remember I had a popsicle in my hand. They sell these popsicles for 10 cents on the streets of Peru, and they're in little Ziploc bags. They're just a frozen little Ziploc pop.
Yeah.
I literally had a popsicle in my hand while I was fighting him to get
Crazy ass white
Fighting
girl.
some
Fighting
Peruvian
to get
dude
it.
for my phone.
I was all by myself. I ended up, Blake and I were staying in a hostel. I ended up going back to the hostel, and Blake's like, what did you do?
hostel?
What did you do?
Good.
Oh, our
grief.
budget was $15 a day. When we travel, we're not going high on the horse. We camped. So when we were in Namibia this past month, we were camped. We had a truck with 2 tents on top, and that's what we stayed in for 2.5 weeks. But the camps there are epic. There's a little swimming pool. We're in the middle of the desert. You can have a pool. You have a shower. You have a bathroom. It is a camper's dream in Africa. It's amazing.
Now, what were the mosquitoes like?
I actually did not have issues with mosquitoes,
Really?
and mosquitoes love me. So that's saying something. I think I got bit by it once or twice out of the whole month.
It's the size of a hippo, but
They are actually hippos.
Had to go in for a transfusion when we were done.
Hippos are the number 2 killer in Africa.
Ain't that
Number
wild?
1 is mosquitoes.
I bet.
Yeah, it's funny.
I mean, that's where the West Nile virus came from, right?
That's the Nile is very much north.
Egypt.
Yep, there you go, buddy. It's funny because
Swinging a miss.
friend of the program, Amy McHugh, they were over. I think they might have been Kenya area,
Yeah.
but they stayed out at one of those reserves,
Yeah.
and they had all these almost sawed off telephone poles around the huts and stuff, and they said that's to keep the hippos away because they slide their feet. They can't step up, so they bump into these, and then they just turn back around, or you hope it does. But they can't lift their feet. We just lost. They slide their feet.
what?
Yeah, we got beat 3-2 in overtime.
Yeah, in overtime. The damn maple syrup.
It was Canada.
It's impressive how well you guys multitask.
Moose humper.
It could be that or whatever, but that's what she said.
Yeah.
So when you do these traveling, you don't go through a travel agent. You guys just do it on your own.
Honestly, what we use, we'll go on Amazon.com, buy a Lonely Planet book for whatever country we're trying to visit, and we just take it from there.
So how does that work with visas and obviously you have passports, but
Yeah.
you can visit a country for, how's that work?
A lot of the visas you can get at the airport as you're going into the country.
Oh, so you declare how long you're going to be there.
Yeah.
And then it's no big deal.
It's
I've only
typically not an issue. Yeah.
I've only traveled internationally without a travel agent once.
Really?
Yeah. I'm kind of a chicken shit though. You know what I mean?
You're not going to be chicken shit. We're in Wren Lake with a bunch of girls on the boat screaming at us to pull freaking catfish out of the hole.
I'll handle that. But I'm just saying, I don't know. I feel like I could be a very sought after prize in a foreign country. You know what I mean? Imagine all the
Absolutely.
candles and
Look, another silly fat American.
Absolutely.
Candles.
Dude,
Yeah.
they know you're American as soon as you step off the plane.
What is it?
You.
Why? What makes it?
I don't know. I'm telling you though, they will target you boom.
So what's
You just have to be and I'm so not what I had to get used to in Africa was people coming up and being super nice and how are you? What's your name? Blah blah blah. And the next thing you know, they're
for money.
for money?
They're trying to get you to buy something, or they're like, we'll show you how to get from this gate to this gate in the airport, and then they want money for helping you. And that's just, but it's hard to explain. There's just such a diverse group of people in Africa. It's just something you have.
Well,
to
'cause
get
you
used
got,
to.
like,
It's stepping back in time.
Well, like you talked about, you had a 4th generation German that was part of the so there's that.
Right.
There's the white Europeans that colonized the place, and then
Yeah.
there's the natural
Yes.
inhabitants of it.
Yeah, who have been there for thousands and thousands of years.
Yeah.
Like we went to a tribe, they're called the Himba. So this was a tribe in Africa. They have learned. So Namibia is mainly desert. Actually, it's the world's oldest desert. It's like 50 million years old. These people have lived in the desert and learned how to survive. Like just being out there, I have no idea how any human being would have been like, I think I'm going to settle down here. I mean, it is legit the desert. There's no water. There's nothing. So we actually found a guy. He grew up Himba. He was like, I'll take you to this tribe. I'll take you and I can translate. So he took us and we took them some cornmeal, some
Very
oil.
pilgrimy of you.
Yeah, some oil, like some things and like to give to the village. And he like kind of showed us around, and these people like their traditions they're living exactly the same as they did thousands of years ago.
That's crazy.
So like the women don't bathe.
What's the Wi-Fi like? Wonder what their TikTok handles are.
Step back into
That's insane, isn't it? To think that way.
No, it blows.
It's
my
wild.
mind.
Yeah.
They love having their picture taken though. They love it.
No
then you
shit.
show that they like to see what they look like because they have no idea.
No mirrors.
No mirrors.
No, they have no idea. So they love to see. Like if you take a picture, they want to see what they look like. But so there's no water there. The women are not allowed to bathe. Only the men get to bathe in this tribe.
Yikes.
So the women, what they do is they rub their bodies every morning
with dust.
They take a smoke bath. So they have like herbs that they burn to make it, and it's kind of like a perfume. And so it keeps them smelling good. And then they rub their skin with a mix of animal fat and ochre, which is like a mineral.
Is it red?
It's red.
I know. I've seen these people.
Yes.
Like, is that a common thing amongst tribal Africans or just this one in general?
Just this one.
I've seen it.
Yeah. So
yep.
Only the men.
There's going to be so many people listening to this call bullshit on that.
No, dude.
I'd show you pictures, but they're also all topless.
Of course.
Like, I can't post any of the pictures because women don't have like.
Yeah.
But they're beautiful. Like their skin, they are called the red people because they're literally all their skin is red. From where, and like, so the men follow the cattle. They're actually herdsmen. So they herd cattle, goats. And so the men during the day go off with the cattle and the sheep and stuff. And the women do all the other work. So they build the houses. They gather firewood. They are out there taking care of the kids. They do all the cooking. They do everything. And like at night, and they sleep literally on like a cowhide. So on the hard dirt floor on a cowhide, the man has a pillow, which his pillow is a piece of wood that fits his neck. So that's his pillow. Only the man gets a pillow. And then the first wife, because they get to have multiple.
Concubines? Or like, is it?
They probably don't call it that.
What do they call it?
So they have arranged marriages. So typically when the girl is 13, she's bound to man. This is going to sound so bad. The man has to be a first cousin. So, I mean, it's wild. This is a whole other world, guys. So first cousin, or at least this is what our guy who grew up Himba was telling us.
Shit.
And so they get paired together. So they go off, get married. You know, when she's 13 or 14, he takes her as his wife.
And how old's the dude?
I don't know. I think usually like 27. He's typically older.
Yikes.
So that's his first wife. So the first wife, when they're sleeping, so he has his wooden pillow. Her pillow is his elbow. So she sleeps on his arm. And like that's her pillow. And then the second wife, I guess, is just like SOL and has to sleep next to her.
Whoa. So they sleep in the same tent.
It's a pecking order. Yeah,
that's wild.
It's so it was.
So if they're
Elvis
a
would have
learning
fit right in there.
experience.
So if they're marrying first cousins, is there a high rate of some of those genetic disorders that come from incest?
You would think so, but I didn't notice anything. So, but also I think generally like they go and have a lot of kids via a lot of other women.
Oh, so first cousin is a stretch.
And then you get to go around and so the man gets to go and have as many women as he wants.
So what do the men's wear? Do you see a lot of like big himba cocks and stuff swinging around?
No. So they're more covered than the females.
They probably wear
They have
pants and
skirts.
shirt.
It's like a skirt. It's like a it's
Like a
not
button up,
it's-
nice pair of slacks.
Yeah.
It's
Dockers. Got a set of Dockers.
It's almost like when you see in Scotland, like the
Oh, like a kilt.
Yeah, but African style, like lighter because they're in the Dutch. But it's like a skirt, and then he's got like just a shirt, and then
No shit.
it's and everything is symbolic. Like they all have all this jewelry.
Yeah.
Every little thing.
I'm currently
represents
Googling it as we're speaking, and they seem like a very
They're
highly decorated tribe.
fascinating. Yes,
Big like
their hair's covered in
dreads.
clay.
Yeah, like
Yes.
yes, big snake looking dreads.
Yeah, so their hair's covered in clay that and it takes you it's the man's hair. So the men grow out their hair and they kind of use it as like extension. So he cuts off his hair, gives it to his wife, and she adds it on. And so there's like a whole thing of clay all the way down to the tips. And then what's at the tips, I'd love to show you a picture. It's super cool. I took
So
some
now these
pictures that I
women-
can share.
Now these women, this is just a tribal disconnect. Like they have no what I'm trying to say is they don't give two shits that their big tribal boobies are hanging everywhere.
Oh.
Like
They wouldn't
it's
know
just-
any different.
It's
Yeah,
nothing.
exactly, yeah.
No,
If you
it's
don't
not
know, you
even-
don't know.
It's not even thought of. And so that was one concern because I took Sway. Obviously, we took Sway there.
Well, sure.
And I was like, okay. So, but he didn't even, I was really surprised he didn't even give a second. Because if they don't act like it's nothing, he
Yep.
didn't pay any attention.
Exactly.
It's it's wild. You just get used to it.
Yep.
I got used to it. So I'm like, yeah, I'll show you a picture. Here, let me post this video. But then, it'll get banned as soon as I post it.
Exactly.
But it's just it's their norm. Like we the first lady, like we helped one of the women. So what they use for the clay in their houses, it's cow manure, clay, and water, and that's what they use to like build the foundation of their home. So me and Sway were helping mix up cow manure and clay and all this next to the lady with, she was full on topless. We're all in here mixing up clay, throwing it on. Just didn't think a thing of it.
Anything of it.
And
See,
I go back
that's
and
just
look
a
at the
wild
videos, and
experience.
I'm like, oh yeah, they were topless. You just don't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's crazy. That's a
And
wild
They
experience.
are
that
really neat people.
that sway will obviously take forever.
yeah.
Real quick though, good start. But let's hear from our friends at Hopf Outdoor Power. Spring is in the air. Finally. Maybe. We hope so. And guess what? Hopf Outdoor Power is back. They never left, but they're back with us here at the Wandering Dutchman. And they wanted us to remind you of their great selection of used and new side-by-sides and ATVs. Talk to old brother Dave. His side-by-side is ready for an oil change and probably needs some new tires. Also, spring means that grass mowing season is upon us. Don't wait until the grass is too tall. Get your mowing equipment serviced today, and now is definitely the time. Our friends at Hopf Outdoor Power have their winter service special going on now till the end of February. The winter service special includes discounted services and discounted pickup and delivery. Don't wait till the grass is knee high. Get your mowing equipment serviced today. All right, so we're going to leave Africa. Where's another bucket list destination where you guys want to travel?
Personally, I want to go to Argentina. I want to do a dove hunt. And if
Oh,
we're going to talk
yeah.
about hunting, like everybody wants a big game animal, like a moose or, whatever. I want to do a dove hunt, Argentina.
You need to invest in either a
You're going to hand out financial advice?
you're going to need a you're definitely going to need a like a 28 gauge or something small, because even for me, they say that the amount of shooting that you can do on an Argentinian duck hunt or dove hunt
Yeah,
is absolutely mind-boggling.
that's what I
Like I'm talking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of doves in the same day, because it's just that's where they go. You know what I mean? That's
yeah,
just
I
where
heard
they
you
go.
had like somebody as soon as you're out of shells, they're
Just hand you
passing
another gun.
and you
Yeah.
just switch and they
It's
keep
insane.
loading it for you.
Same thing. Friend of the program of mine, Corey Minky, he actually went on an Argentinian duck hunt.
Does he really listen to the show, or we just?
Yeah.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, he talks about it.
Shut up.
Had before.
Eh,
What are you slapping the table for?
Sorry. I thought
just slapping the base.
But yeah, he was just saying like they had done it. He had done it before, and he said it was just insane. You've never seen anything. Like
What about the Texas hog hunts where they're in the helicopters? What's the chance you would be intrigued by that?
Okay. I mean, it looks cool. I've taken a helicopter ride and I'm not excited about taking another one. It was more of a life flight situation for me.
Oh, well, that's not good.
But hog hunts,
They just let them lay.
I've done a hog hunt. They do. That's my
Yeah, I'm not
They're
down with it either.
They're super invasive though. They're like hogs are a big problem.
Big problem,
in Texas.
yeah.
Huge problem. So I mean, it kind of sounds fun. I wouldn't be opposed to if somebody's gonna be like, "Hey, you want to go?" I'd be like, "Hell yeah, I'm in."
You know, we're going to see in like 6 months, she's going to be posting a video.
better post a Dutchman.
I'm gonna have a gun in each hand, like
Yeah.
door wide open on
Yeah.
the helicopter.
Yeah.
Just letting it eat. So Argentina's on the list, but what about non-hunting, just traveling life experience? Where else?
Well, Argentina would also be on the list, so that's why it was like a 2-for-1.
2 for there, yeah.
The old
I'd
twofer.
love to explore Argentina too. I guess other than that, I mean, I'd like to explore more of Africa. We did 5 countries out of the 26 in Africa. I'd be open to exploring more there because Africa is pretty freaking wild.
Mhm.
Also, it's so cheap. It's so freaking cheap. I literally can buy. So while I was in Africa, I could buy a whole cart full of groceries. I come back to the U.S. and eggs are like, you have to sell your soul for a dozen.
I know.
What happened?
Right?
What happened while I was gone? It
Bird
hurt
flu.
so bad. I'm like, I could buy a bottle of Coke for 50 cents in Africa. I mean, I could have.
What's African Coke taste like? Because I'm a big fan of Mexican Coke.
Dude, it's like the cane sugar rather
Yeah.
than. But,
Yeah.
Oh, it's so.
So Mexican Coke is the same in Africa Coke. So when
Yeah,
you're drinking
yeah.
a Mexican Coke, you say you're drinking an African
Yeah,
Coke.
for 50 cents.
That's pretty good.
Oh, it's so everything was so cheap. I mean, and the food is great. And I know you guys like you were talking about your tongue tacos and beef hearts and whatever else, we're like I heard you all talking about that and you all would love Namibia. It is just dinner is basically just meat and maybe you'll have a side of something, but mainly
boy.
it's just meat. So one night they cooked. So for my oryx, they cooked some liver sausage up, like with the casings. Also came from my oryx.
The gut.
Yep. And so we had like some all cooked over a fire. Like they cook up a fire and then they call it a braai, but it's like a barbecue. And so they cooked that lamb. Gosh, what was it? It wasn't leg of lamb.
Chops. Lamb chops.
I guess it would be the chops. It was lamb. It was
Whatever.
some type of lamb. It was
Lamb.
delicious lamb meat. I know that. They had kebabs and then they had oryx steaks. All of that in one night. Like that's just 4 different types
Did you have
of
the meat sweats?
I get them.
Me
I don't
too.
know. I slept like a baby. So
Of course.
it
What was the booze situation over there?
Oh, okay. So beer. So it's a German. So Namibia was basically German settled. So good beers.
Yeah.
I'm into the Hefeweizen, so they had some really good Hefeweizens there.
Mm-hmm.
They also had we did some Jameson and Coke, that type of wine. Like wine's good there.
Uh-oh, Dave.
That's right.
Fruit
Because
bear
it-
wine?
We went to the wine.
Fruit bear
so
wine.
Africa has very good wine, and I think it's people don't realize because you think Europe has good wines and blah blah blah. Well, they brought the vines straight from Europe to Africa,
Huh.
and it's grown in the mountains. So we did actually when we went to Cape Town, they had winelands outside of there. So we spent a full day exploring the vineyards and sparkling wines, especially. Were like. And when I say you
Sparkling.
could buy a good bottle of wine for $2, you know how
Oh,
like,
Dave.
Whoa, Dave. Whoa.
Dave's called his
Whoa.
travel agent now.
I'm telling you, the wines there, I was like, I'm going to buy a whole checked bag full and just bring it back to the U.S. because their $5 bottle of wine would be like a $40 bottle of wine in the
boy,
U.S.
dude.
I like our $5 bottle of wine.
You'd
I
really
thought
be-
could
I
set for
only
a
buy. I
decade.
don't buy $40 bottles of wine ever.
No
I'm
way,
like,
dude. Who's got that kind of cash?
Good. They are exceptional. It was exceptional. It was so I can't even begin to describe. So like food is that's the thing about Southern Africa. You can check off great food, great drinks, affordable. I
Hey,
can't.
you guys want to go to Africa?
I'll feel the rain down on Africa.
Yeah.
The only other time I've experienced a place where like the food was comparable in price was Vietnam. But
Ooh.
Vietnamese food isn't
Spooky.
Oh,
my
but the Shannon
favorite.
green soup.
Spooky.
Vietnamese food isn't my favorite. I loved Vietnam, but I love the food in Africa.
Do you...
So good.
Man, there's so many like inappropriate things to say about Vietnam that I can't. That I'm
I
not going to
didn't-
say.
We're not going to go there.
No.
Have you been to Vietnam?
Hell no.
Hell
Does that do I look like
We've
the kind of
hardly
guy-
been out of Indiana.
Do I look like the guy that's been to
Love.
Vietnam? No way,
I've
dude.
been to Nam and it was
Okay,
it's just
so
a bunch of farmers.
let's come on
Love
back.
Vietnam.
Let's come on back to the United States
Yes,
of
sir.
America.
Okay.
The U.S. of A.
One
All right.
one of the things that I had on my Allison list that something that I'm super jelly of was your boat trip.
Ah,
So we've crossed off
Okay.
Africa, we've crossed off noodling,
okay.
and we've dipped our toes
We
a
haven't
little.
crossed off noodling because you guys are going to come
We're going-
experience.
Well, I know, but we've
We're gonna
talked
do it
about it.
first,
We've
yeah.
I've dipped my toe. We've a little bit of lawn care. We all
Okay.
know that you're a sprayer gal.
Yes, sir.
Your boat trip that you and your husband took
Yeah.
is something that I have been like kind of thinking, dreaming, think it would be really cool to do for a long time.
Yeah.
And I think just tell us about, for the folks that don't know what I'm talking about, tell us what I'm talking about.
Well, so so this year, Blake and I hit our decade anniversary.
There you
so
go.
10 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And so we decided what we were going to do was take a little boat trip from down past Nashville. So we put in Illinois and we spent a week boating, stopping at different marinas and stuff. And yeah, I mean, it was pretty incredible to see a different side of the States from the riverside.
Yeah.
Proving
So-
that,
So you've got a cuddy cabin boat,
yes.
like this big old stabbing cabin boat,
Yes.
and you put that
It's
baby
not
in.
that big,
You
yes.
put that baby in Illinois on the Mississippi River,
Yes.
and then you went south on the Mississippi,
On the Mississippi.
and you stopped at various marinas between. And how far did you make it?
We made it, golly. Oh, you asked me. I'm trying to
Golly
think.
gee.
Golly gee willikers. We made it I'm south of Nashville, but I'm trying to think.
Because you got boots made there with your gator skins, right?
Yes. Stopped
remember
in
that.
Nashville. I took
Yeah.
my gator hide there.
Yeah.
I ended up getting a gator. We didn't, not that 11 footer, but we didn't finish that story, but I ended up getting a gator, so I took my hide down.
Squirrel.
Squirrel.
Happens.
Get it.
But yeah, we ended up south of Nashville. I'm trying to think of the marina we
Doesn't matter.
with.
Here's the real important part.
Well, you asked the question.
I know. Here's the
Changing gears.
here's
I
the real
mean,
important
Blake's
part.
the one that's all about the boat.
Now, how in the hell did you get the sumbitch back? Did you have to go? Did you drive it back?
Well, that's what in-laws are for.
Oh boy, yeah. So they brought
The trailer. They brought the trailer
to where
That's
you
it.
were.
Yes, but have you? I'm assuming you've heard of the Great Loop. So,
Nope.
Okay, so the Great Loop. There's a lot of, not a lot, but there are several boaters with really big boats
Oh yeah.
who chase the 70-degree weather.
Mm-hmm.
And it's called the Great Loop. If you Google it, you can look it up. Actually, Google it right now.
Let
'cause
me
I'm
do it,
trying
babe. Let me get her.
I want to tell you exactly it'll show you the whole loop, but they go like all the way down to Florida, all the way up through
The Great Loop is a continuous waterway that allows boaters to explore eastern North America. It goes from
Maryland,
Atlantic, Gulf, intercoastal waterways, the Great Lakes, Canadian heritage canals, the inland rivers of America's heartland. But it looks like it literally just goes from Florida all the way up the East Coast, jumps up, through maybe east of or west of Maine, comes back through the Great Lakes, and then hooks up at the bottom of Lake Michigan to the mighty Mississippi and just trucks her on all the way back down through Louisiana and then over.
Exactly.
Nutty.
So we met several people. That's really what they were doing. They're just part of the Great Loop. They've been boating for years. They had like their electric bikes that they would take. And so each marina is very unique, and you can, each one's different. They have restaurants.
I was going to say, some of the food
towns.
that you were posting
You can
were
literally just,
really good.
yes. And you can just live off your boat like we couldn't. We about did us in, but these people literally sell their houses or put their houses up for rent, and then they live off their boat for a year.
If you start in Chicago, continue south in a counterclockwise direction to take advantage of the river currents that run in the Mississippi River, which most of the people consider themselves loopers.
Yep.
They choose to exit at the Tennessee River to avoid heavy barge traffic on the larger waterway, and that path leads to the Tennessee, don't know how to say that word, waterway, which also flows to the Gulf. Regardless of the southern, man, that's nuts. There's kinds of different flower garden banks, national marina, sanctuary.
There are podcasts. Loopers have podcasts.
Holy
so
shit, guys. Let's take it on the road.
I mean, it's pretty cool.
Buddy, I love you to death, but I'm not going to be locked on a boat with you and do this great loop.
I mean, being stuck on a boat is just not my thing. I loved our week. It was awesome. Just going to the different marinas. There was one in Nashville, I remember, that like you could go up, you just put $1 in the kitty, pour yourself a Blue Moon, or they had different beers on tap.
Whoa.
And it was only for the people who were like docking their boats. They could go up and take advantage of it.
Whoa.
And
I bet
you
they'd
could
lose money the
Uber,
day ours
like,
showed
you
up.
could walk up to, there were so many, different restaurants. You just dock your boat, you walk up, have dinner, go back, and you could have shore power and just hook up and you're set. Like,
wow.
But a lot of people, and the boats, oh my God.
I could only imagine.
The boats just blew my mind. The boats that we saw, I cannot imagine living that lifestyle. Some of those boats were bigger than my house. Like, it was wild.
Well, it's kind of, you think about it, it's kind of like RVing, but on water. I mean,
Yes.
people buy these big RVs and they just cruise the United States. It's kind of the same theory.
Yeah, and they end up finding like their people along the way. They're all kind of form a network, and they hang out. They have Thanksgiving together. They do like, I don't know. We talked to several.
You got to have a little bit of that nomad lifestyle streak in you to do that.
Yeah, and you can't choose when you go. So a lot of the boaters we ran into, they were waiting for hurricane season. Like there was a hurricane coming through at the time. They're like, well, we got to wait for the hurricane to pass before we can make our way south. So they were kind of stuck at the marina. But and they're all really comfortable. There's good showers. There's laundry rooms. There's everything you would need, and you pay. Just kind of like a camping spot, like you would with an RV. You pay like maybe $10. If you don't want to anchor off somewhere on your own and you want to have that shore power and options to go into the marina, buy food.
Are there any pirates on this great loop?
That's a good question.
I'm the captain.
If there's not.
Oh, goddamn.
Nothing's here.
CGI fireplace.
Attaboy.
Barking at us here.
Attaboy.
You know what? I bet there's pirates out there somewhere.
Yeah, it'd have to be.
American pirates.
I would think so. I
didn't hear about them, but I'm sure there are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, LC Lawn Care and Pressure Washing. Go ahead, Dave. Run that ad.
Our buddy Logan Clark doesn't just hang Christmas lights. He owns and operates LC Lawn Care and Pressure Washing. The good news is Logan has openings for lawn care in Huntingburg and Jasper areas. The better news, Logan is doing pressure washing not only in DuBois County, but also in the counties that surround DuBois County. Everyone is busier now than ever, whether it's getting on your porches and patios and decks cleaned up and ready for better weather or keeping the yard nice and trimmed. Logan is ready for you. But don't wait. His schedule is filling up fast.
Dave has hit his limit right now.
I'm not at my limit.
Dave's got to find another gear. Allison, let's talk about it. You're an author.
Yes, sir.
Well, I mean, let's talk about it.
Okay, let's talk about it.
So,
How in the
Now
hell
we get to talk about it.
did you come up with enough stuff to write a book?
wow, I don't know if
it's
that's
not a long book.
Oh,
pictures. Remember, she
It's a
said
real-
there's a lot of pictures.
yeah.
It's a really short children's book. There's 2 of them, though.
So that's what I was gonna say. So the first one is chasing deer, and the other one's chasing turkeys.
yes.
And so,
The
how
Chasing
long,
series.
The chase.
what's gonna be next?
Chasing. Honestly, I've been debating like bass fishing or ducks. Everybody loves a good duck.
What about Chasing Mace? That's got a good ring to it.
Chasing squirrels.
That's not a very long book.
Chasing squirrels. There's.
If you ever need to like bounce things off,
I got to target an audience. Chasing Mace. What do you guys think? What should my next book be?
ducks.
Ducks.
Kids love ducks. 'Cause they
Either
can
that
say
or do something kids love, like zebras or
quacks.
giraffes.
They can say, well, that's a hunting book.
I know, that's exactly right. Just rip the Band-Aid off.
Man, we were talking about that today, hunting giraffes. That's a wild
Can you
deal.
imagine?
Couldn't do it.
Where do you aim? Like, is it for the?
It's kind of like the necktie thing, right?
Vitals. What's the
Like,
necktie?
do they wear it under their head or
Gotta
over their
be
shoulders?
vitals, but
I think, but when they hunt giraffes, don't they just like hunt like super old bulls that are on death's door?
Idea.
Is-
Yeah,
they call
I'm
them
sure.
bulls?
Isn't it
Yeah.
weird that we have giraffes but
You
not
know what's
unicorns?
funny? So it's not funny, but I was talking to somebody about hunting elephants in Africa. And like that's one thing that you wouldn't think would be super dangerous, but a lot of hunters die
Mean mother trucker.
Trampled.
via elephant.
Yeah,
They do that stomp
hunting
thing.
them.
they move pretty quick.
You ever see
Oh,
those little
okay.
Indian dudes or Thai guys when they?
So actually, the idea came from Bass Pro Shops. I'm just gonna throw
Fuck.
them under
Oh,
the
there
bus.
you go.
So I had gone into Bass Pro, wanted to buy a book for a baby shower because that's a thing. You know. Instead of a card, bring a book, whatever.
Yep.
Well, so it was a family that liked to hunt. I was like, I'm going to buy them a hunting book. I went to Bass Pro expecting they have a full like
Kids section.
kids section
Yep.
with books, and none of them. not
Skinning
a
my
single
teddy
one-
bear.
Not a single one was about hunting. So I was like,
Niche
okay,
market.
well, that's a problem. And yeah, so a month later, I sat down and I wrote Chasing Deer. And then, so I'm self-published. I wrote it, I wrote it myself, figured out how to put it all together. And the first day that I posted about my book and had it for sale, I sold like 175 copies. Something
Hell
like
yeah.
that. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It was awesome.
It's kind of like when we did the podcast when we posted episode 1, and we're like,
Best episode we ever had.
nobody's going to listen to this.
Yeah.
And then you start to see the numbers, and you're like, oh my God, there's people listening.
Yeah.
I
and-
watched
well,
all day
the
at
problem
work. I'm like,
was,
they're watching it.
Yeah.
well, the problem was I wasn't prepared. So like my books were not, and I had just come out with them. They were not the quality that they needed to be for. I didn't know that I was going to sell that many copies. I was like, oh no.
Hey, we got a problem.
We got to buy more crayons.
But since then I've gotten it figured out. And actually, so the reason I came out with it, I didn't come out with it to make, to make money and like sell a ton of books. My goal was to get more kids involved in the outdoors. Cause my mom was a librarian. Like I grew up reading books. And for me growing up, like books were a great doorway to open like conversations about
Sure.
different things. So hunting, not everybody hunts anymore. Like if you look online,
It's a
like,
stigma. A lot of people hate it.
yeah,
I know it.
and they don't realize how many dollars from hunting licenses go towards conservation.
Shit tons.
Way more. Even when I was in Africa, like my buddy who owned the lodge there was like, Greenpeace brings in X amount of dollars. African people who come to hunt Africa
Safaris.
bring in millions.
Oh yeah.
Millions.
Yep.
And that money goes towards, conservation. and the way he described it,
Like
this
not
is
only
this
conservation,
is Africa.
but
This
preservation, like habitat preservation,
exactly.
paying those trackers, helping those people survive, shit like that.
Well, they have to have they have all of these acres for hunters to come in, right? And people are like, "Oh, don't hunt Africa, blah blah blah." Well, guess what? If they don't have this income, then they're going to use that land for something else, for agriculture, for
Mhm.
raising cattle and sheep and other animals that will push off the natural
Game.
wildlife and
Yeah.
game. And so what happens is those farmers then are killing off the natural wildlife, the antelope, the elephants.
They're your biggest
the
poachers,
lions.
realistically.
They are, and they have to, because they're like, well, we need the cattle. The cattle need that. We can't have both. Can't have the wildlife that's going to, eat all of this. Our cattle needs this food. So we have to get rid of all of these animals that were here naturally. So actually hunters are like doing a huge it might not seem like it, but like when I explored Namibia up north where, those tribes were and stuff, they are cattlemen. There were no antelope, there were no elephants, there were none of the natural wildlife that I found on my buddy's property where it was just like wildebeest,
Yeah.
oryx, like springbuck, impala, black-faced impala, which are only there in Namibia. Like there are so many different animals, but it's also the same in the U.S. So like all of our hunting licenses, like the taxes on, our ammo and other things, those go towards conservation.
Yep.
So, yeah, like so we need to keep having generation, like we need to have people hunting, and so that was part of my reason for having these books, creating these books, was to just kind of keep that spark going. But I've so far been able to donate over I think to date is between 250 to 300 copies of my books to public libraries, schools, daycares, families, hospitals, stuff like that. So
That's pretty cool.
It's been really awesome. Like I've had a ton of support, way more than I ever imagined. So yeah. And actually my second book, Chasing Turkeys, I actually wrote that book in the turkey blind. So yeah.
Ain't that cool?
It was
So
raining.
you're saying I need to write a book next fall
Yeah.
while I hunt, not
your
taking
phone
away.
Watching football.
Yeah.
Put your phone away.
Yeah.
Well, the only reason it was raining, and I was like, I don't usually hunt in a turkey blind. My buddy had a blind, and he was like, you can just go sit in my blind. So I did. There were no turkeys, so I wrote Chasing Turkeys.
Unreal.
That blind.
What a wild deal.
That's pretty cool. But I mean, it goes back. I think some of your biggest conservationists are hunters because they know
Oh
and
my
understand.
Teddy
God.
Roosevelt.
Yes.
Hunters love the animals that probably more than people who don't hunt love the animals that we're hunting.
You know why? Because if they don't preserve the animal that they're hunting, then they will no longer be able to hunt.
Man, that's a wild.
Isn't it?
deep
Isn't
thought.
that crazy?
That's the whole.
So you got to protect them.
What's that? TRCP.
100%.
Teddy Roosevelt
And also it's no-
Conservation.
Club.
No, that was a P.
Mm.
And we want lots of these animals. It makes it more fun to hunt when there's more of them
Yeah,
out there.
right.
So like,
Right.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to kill the last one.
no.
Just like that
But
last.
that's a good footnote in history, though.
Just like that last.
In
crap
fact,
ball on
there
the
is
plate.
no quail hunting in Indiana anymore. The populations
No.
of quail have gone down so much that that's not been a thing for years
Mhm.
now. Where I grew up quail hunting with my dad,
Yep.
there's still quail, but my dad doesn't hunt them anymore.
No.
Right.
Let's say a friend of ours, we just talked about it last week, the QUGA, the big banquet they got coming up.
Yeah.
Well, it's
It's already gone.
it's
now.
already gone now,
In
but
podcast time.
it's a thing that they have to
That's
do
a
to
real mind thing,
keep that
Allison. When you start doing this for 3 years,
We're in the zone of the time.
you realize we're a week ahead talking about things when
Yeah.
it's right now. It's a wild deal.
Time isn't real.
No,
That's right.
you're exactly.
Oh, now
right.
you're starting to
But
scratch Dave's
conservation
itch.
is-
Yeah.
Starting to
We're
scratch
grabbing a
Dave's itch
gear.
now. Go ahead and get the aluminum foil tin hats
Where
on.
you stand on aliens?
They got to be out there.
Amen.
Like, let's be
That's
honest.
right.
Amen.
Jeez.
Amen.
What about on Bigfoot or Sasquatch?
I mean, okay, so I've heard a story about another hunter literally down like
He get butt.
if he did, he didn't admit it.
Wouldn't tell
Nobody
nobody.
But
would.
apparently he was hunting like the bottoms, like the river bottoms down here by the Ohio, and something
Heard a tree knock.
huge.
Bigfoot.
He won't hunt there anymore.
Big.
He
freaking
saw
foot.
trees freaking moving, like it and heard noise. Yeah, and that's his
Yeah,
story
it's
I
the
heard.
wind coming through.
Did you know? Did you know
Did you know?
that there is like a website where people are like have Bigfoot
Report
spotting.
their sighting.
Report- Yeah, and there's several in Perry County.
Well,
Perry County's like
well.
a hot spot.
Let's not get into
Pretty good meth up
Perry
there, too.
County there. I mean,
I
there's
don't know how
Allegedly.
I feel about-
Allegedly.
I don't know how
Allegedly.
I feel about Bigfoot, but there's got to be
no,
something.
well,
to
that
it.
was the question though. Do you believe?
I'm like an in between when it comes to Bigfoot.
But aliens, we're all in on.
Well,
but
yeah, because I mean,
what
space
about
is-
Ghost?
Oh yeah,
Duh.
Yeah.
She
Ghosts
ain't
are real.
dumb.
Dave's out on Ghost.
ghosts
don't
are real.
ghosts.
You don't believe in ghosts?
I believe in aliens. I believe in Bigfoot, but I don't think.
Wait,
God
you
would-
believe in Bigfoot but not ghosts?
Yeah.
That's wild. Welcome to the
We
world of
talked
David
about that.
Allen.
I think it
Smoker.
was like 3 or 4 episodes ago. It's just that I'm pretty. You wouldn't guess it, but I'm pretty rooted in my faith.
Roots.
And I just believe
Fair.
once you're gone here, you're going to somewhere else.
I believe that too.
But aliens and Bigfoots they ain't got shit to do with.
But what if God gives you the choice and is like,
You want to be a Bigfoot?
no, but what if he's like,
Brother Dave, welcome to the pearly gates.
I'm just gonna throw this out there.
Throw it
What
out.
if he's like, hey, yeah, if you want to hang out for a couple of years, like if you're not ready to leave, boom, and then you're a ghost. You're like, yeah, I want to hang out in my house for a couple of years before I cross over to that, spot. And
No,
God's
this
like,
is something I
okay.
haven't considered.
God's like, you know what?
Oh, Dave's mind right now is just in a pickle.
Like, what if you have a real attachment to your house and you're like, I have eternity in heaven. What if I want to hang out here for a couple more years? And
I just
then-
feel like there'd be nothing good to come from me anybody hanging out in their
Well,
house.
because when Jenna's new man moved in about 2 weeks after you were in the
Oh.
ground,
and then I'm just in his ear going, "You got a little dick."
when
and
in
that's
reality,
how ghosties
when in
come about.
reality, it's not.
What a
And
wild.
God's up there going, "Dave, not what we agreed on."
Shut her down.
I went to law school with a buddy that he
Little dick.
his dad was his last wishes were to
Probably.
be cremated and put in a bucket of white ceiling paint, and then they were going to repaint him in the bedroom. So he was an honorary fella. He's from West Virginia. They're good old boys up there in West
Hell
Virginia.
yeah, hell yeah.
But,
Okay.
Go ahead.
Sorry, interrupted.
No, this is your show.
I feel like this is going
Not,
somewhere
it's
good.
not, but we're talking about, okay. So I listen to a lot of true crime podcasts.
Amen, babe.
Now
Me
you're going to
too.
scratch Big Mace's itch.
Sorry. But there was one I was listening to where they were, their fans write in stories. And so these were deathbed confessional stories. And one of them was a deathbed confessional from a nurse. And she was like a pediatric nurse. And so as she was dying, her last words were, I switched so many babies.
Oh God.
And then she died.
Whoa.
There's a special place in hell for her.
But what if it was a joke and like you didn't know, or what if she actually,
What if it was
You'll
me?
never know. She does.
or what if exactly?
What if it was me?
That's a genius behind it.
Yeah, not a chance.
I know.
What if she switched
He's
a ton of
supposed to be
babies?
an all-star running back.
Did it happen? This has haunted me. It's like, did she or did she not switch a ton of babies, or
That's
was she like
nuts.
messing with her family?
That's one of those things where,
Unreal.
I mean, back then they took him out of the room into nurse. Like, there's no guarantee
Exactly.
of what it would be.
All them babies
could've
and buggies
switched as
by the
na-
window, and they just had a last name sharpied on the end of the buggy.
Well, no, you're taking the baby out of one and
No,
putting it in
and
the
then
other.
and then that kid grows
But all
up
you
and
gotta
they're
do
like,
is switch
you
the
look
name."
nothing like your dad.
You look like the milkman.
Oh, maybe that's where it was at. Maybe that hospital she was at. As
What a wild deal.
you know, what's
that
not.
bitch.
You know what's not wild, but does have a lot of deals. Merkley and Sons.
Yeah.
Oh,
You are so good at this. It's blows my mind.
Keep that in there, Dave.
February is a big month. It may be short on a few days, but it's a big one. We've got the Super Bowl, we've got Valentine's Day, and hell, maybe even in your household, President's Day is a big deal. The good news is that when you throw that massive Super Bowl party, you can utilize those high-quality Merkley & Son meats. Whether you are going with a simple spread or something more in depth, the fellows over there at Merkley's have got you covered. Fellas, listen up. Cook dinner for your significant other on Valentine's Day. Skip the dog and pony show that is February 14th and show off your culinary skills. Ladies, listen up. Don't waste your time. Head on over to Merkley's, do a little shopping, and make this the best Valentine's Day ever for your mate.
All right, we're back. We are back. Allison, we've had a lot of fun
Yep.
talking with you.
Yep.
And we always, anybody we interview. Now, unfortunately, you're not the first badass girl boss to be in here. We had Blonde Brush in here.
I love her.
Yeah, she's great.
She's a friend, so I'm cool with that.
She's a good friend of the program. She
awesome.
did the characters up there.
I know.
Obviously, great story there.
Not Burt Reynolds on the bear rug. That's just what I
She
aspire
is
to
an
have
amazing-
someday.
But we always
I didn't get a bear when I was in Colorado, but if I did, that was going over my in-laws' bed.
we always turn it over to you to ask questions. So this is your opportunity to ask away.
Okay.
That's
Like Mr. Smithers.
I guess my main question, since you asked me, like, if you had one place in the world you could travel to, where would it be? Oh, I have two. I thought of a second one.
You,
but go-
you can probably have up to 3.
You can have as many as you
can
want.
do
It's your
4 or
show.
7.
I'm a big fan of The Amazing Race, and I'm too much of a. Janelle and I are going to apply soon. We've got something coming in June that we're kind of committed to at this point. But I really love when they go to the Nordic
Damn it.
countries. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know that I'm brave enough. Sweden, Norway, Finland. Like, I'd even like Iceland. People love going to Iceland.
The mountains of
Caucasus. But like like the Africa thing doesn't sound exciting to me. Rich culture would probably love it, but I would think it would have to be. I'd be getting closer to the North Pole up there. Iceland probably would be top right now.
That's
so
like
we-
Lord of the Rings country, right?
Yeah. We talked about it
Beautiful.
about it's probably been close to a month or so ago how little to my knowledge I was only like a 4th or 5th generation.
Yeah.
4th or 5th generation American. And I've always wanted to go to Europe and either do like kind of retrack my grandfather's footsteps in World War II whenever he like from Normandy all the way through Berlin and Belgium and all that things. But then like trying to find where like the Masoners really started over in Germany, like that whole, I don't know, Germany would be mine, Europe. Shit
I did think of one before we go to you, Dave. Give you a little bit more time. Former Soviet Union countries, because there's some
Chernobyl.
but there's something unique about them.
Yeah.
They're a unique population of it. Like there's unique stories there.
Nuclear
Like,
fallout.
yeah, that's all in Ukraine. Not going to Ukraine right now, but I think you look at like Croatia, Slovakia. Like there's some of those countries are very beautiful.
Yep.
I suppose if I could go anywhere, and I'm
St. Henry,
taking
Indiana.
your this question, thinking that I just had all the money and time in the world, and
Making it complicated, Dave.
no other. I'm just
Okay.
settle down, fella. Probably Antarctica. I feel like it's mostly unexplored, and if I just could go somewhere and just start digging in, I think there's some weird shit there that I'd want to find.
What kind? Like what?
Aliens.
Like the aliens. There's
Transformers.
some pyramid down there
Transformers.
that like lines up with all the other pyramids.
Optimus Prime.
You know, like Walt Disney, he funded a whole thing down there trying to find. It's not the permafrost, but that whole thing because he was a flat earther. And
Walt Disney was a flat earther.
well, they thought there was
Is
this
it
thing that like engulfed. I think it's a flat Earth thing, but like I don't know what they call it, but the flat earthers, there's like a globe still, like a snow globe
Hemisphere.
Well, that's
Dome.
a dome.
Spherical shaped.
So there's this whole thing they're looking for because Antarctica, if you got a flat Earth, is just the permafrost around the edges, and that's what leads up to this dome that's over the world, and Walt Disney funded a trip down there, and NASA was part of it
I remember that.
back in the 40s.
Mm-hmm.
And then nothing ever came from it. Nobody ever talked about it again. They got this
Because it was a shitty trip.
That's where UFOs started.
Oh, God.
There's evidence, though, from the little places we have been of like a tropical, not atmosphere, but a tropical landscape that was there once before. Because I'm not buying into global warming necessarily, but poles switch and waters travel, and there's probably some shit down there.
There we go.
Probably is. This stuff fascinates me.
Yeah.
Me too.
It is fascinating.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot we don't know about. Okay.
Next
question.
Oh. Okay.
Jinx, pinch, pokey, owe me a Coke.
All right. Would you rather
This is a good one.
Switch a bunch of babies at a pediatric unit.
Would you rather fight a bear-sized turkey, like a turkey the size of a bear, or 20 bears the size of a turkey?
We've had this question with a duck.
Yeah.
You
Right.
did?
I don't know if it's bear size, it's dinosaur size.
Ducks don't have spurs. I'm just saying.
So
A
20
turkey,
bear-sized turkeys.
Or one turkey-sized bear.
There's no way. Turkeys are mean.
No, she said one bear-sized turkey.
one turkey the size of a bear,
Yeah, I'm going that one.
or 20 bears the size of turkeys.
You know how when you got a skin knee in the summertime and it's real hot and humid, and you got a skin knee, and there's like 50 to 75 pecker gnats just swarming all over that little.
It's the worst.
You know what I mean?
Yes,
And then like
brings back memories.
they just won't ever go away. Whereas if you just had like one mosquito that was sucking on your leg,
I'm really failing to see you connect the dots here.
I'm lost right now.
I'm gonna fight that one bear-sized turkey
You better be good.
before I start fighting 20 of them little bastards.
But that turkey's got like daggers on his heels.
Bring it on.
We'll just like
And we're talking one turkey the size of a bear or
Yes.
20 bears the size of a turkey.
yeah.
So 7 to 12 pounds.
Maybe I should have said 10. That would have been more even. 10.
10
A wild
bears.
wild
10 pound bears.
a wild tom turkey is like 23 pounds.
Okay,
25.
so you're wanting to know if I want to have one.
Which are you going to fight?
300
Which are
pound
you gonna
turkey.
fight for your life for? Like,
I'll take the
Which one do you
30
take on?
10 pound bears.
Seth's even confused on it over there. And he's only got
all right, 20
Nine.
bears.
Can't count that high.
20 bears the size of a turkey.
Yep. Or
one.
one turkey the size of a bear.
no weight involved in any of this, Dave.
Weight has everything to do with it.
I'm
gonna
still
take-
going after
I'm going
that
to
one
take the
turkey.
20 small bears.
Because it's
That's-
just like fighting teddy bears.
Stupid.
Got any more questions?
I don't know.
What did you pick?
Yeah, you didn't.
Oh, I said I was going to take the 20. The
Duh.
20.
You take the 20
And you just
bears?
gave me shit.
You
for
some
20
bitches
bears.
would be so out of breath by the time the third or one
You-
come up.
I tell you what,
way.
I don't
You
know.
just
I
wait
feel like those
till you
little
fight a
bears would
turkey the
run
size
away.
of a Silverado.
I feel like the bears would end up running away.
Yeah, because once they saw
That's
their
right.
But that
once they saw their buddy got their ass kicked,
Turkey's mean as
Huh.
giant turkey is going to take you on, and then he's going to have those little sharp little dagger spurs. Just one stab. What the hell was
Like a pterodactyl.
That was a
Good
pterodactyl.
grief.
Uh,
This has been a blast.
so
Allison,
any more questions for us?
That was my last
I
one.
love
Sorry,
it. All right,
we're
hey.
gonna end with a banger.
We're going to hear from Butcher and Barrel one last time, and then we're going to come back for some final thoughts.
Butcher and Barrel, the new kid on the block. The fine dining experience right in the heart of Huntingburg. The place for hearty portions and unique cocktails. What can we say? Butcher and Barrel is the fine dining establishment that is ready to celebrate life's big moments or just a date night with the person you love. Butcher and Barrel has a unique menu from classic steaks to unique creations. And let's not forget about their craft cocktails. We're fans of eating. Look at us. But trust in the fact that the people behind Butcher and Barrel care and strive for excellence in everything they do. Make a reservation soon and tell them the Dutchman sent you.
All right, Allison, this is the segment of the program where you can have your final say off goodbye to those in Wonderland. We've had fun. Wednesday's episode was great. Today's episode is great. We've enjoyed having you, but the floor is yours for some final thoughts.
Well, right now, my only thoughts are I want to thank you guys so much for having me out here. I've had a ball just hanging out and talking to you guys. And I cannot wait to taste test that bacon.
Yep.
Mine will be best.
But no, for real, thank you for having me. It's been a great time. And yeah, I've loved every minute. So
Perfect.
Brother Dave.
Allison, thanks for coming out to Smokers Lounge. We were happy to have you and sharing your stories of
Adventure in life.
trotting the globe, I guess.
Yeah. She's a globetrotter.
Yeah, that's a good
Mean
good way
jump
to put
shot.
it. And just, letting everybody know what's up. So appreciate you coming out and spending a Thursday with us.
Go ahead, big fella.
Let's catch some fish.
let's do it.
I'm down.
You ready to shove your hand in a hole?
I'm ready, babe.
Oh,
Talk dirty to me.
There's a lot of things I feel like you and I could talk about for a long time, and I think that's cool as shit.
Are you talking about the Nambia thing again, or is that
I
where
think
we're
it's
at?
cool as shit. I've been to the NWTF 100 times, and you don't see very
what is
many
the
women.
Big old,
Where are you going, Dave?
Unreal.
just
You don't-
big
you don't
old Zimbabwean cock.
Yeah, big old breeder stud. There. Yeah, there we go. You don't see very many women. Like if I can remember back when we were still in the Monster Bucks phase, and we were watching the Tiffany Lakowskis and the Candy Kiskis, and
Kelly
all
Kapowski.
those chicks and shit like that. And you see these
People.
Instagram models that are out there doing their makeup to shoot these bucks and shit like that, and I'm just like, give me a break. You know what I mean? Like that is so dumb. But when you see somebody raw and true, that's passionate and everything like that, I think that's really cool. And some of the girls that you noodle with, I know who they are, and they know who I am, and I just really think that's cool that there's this whole female network,
Hey, what do you say?
female network of outdoors women.
Back it up 78 seconds.
Because they know who he is.
Some of these girls that know who you are, and I know who I am.
It's not what I said.
They know who he is.
You guys are really ruining this, and for that,
That was a
Allison.
really heartfelt moment.
Yeah, thanks for coming. And after this, you can get the fuck out. Thanks for coming. What you got, Casey?
First off, a little business. Big thank you to our buddy Matt Krieg with Krieg Insurance, Hopf Outdoor Power, LC Lawn Care and Pressure Washing, Merkley and Sons, and of course Butcher and Barrel. Allison, it's been fun. It's been great. You're part of the family now. We're big relationship people. We're not just transactional. So next time you go on some wild adventure, we may call you about it. But you're always welcome here in the lounge. But it's fun. As Mace is the father of some girls, and my daughter is 7. And I know that when we took her out fishing for the first time, it's been a couple years, she loved it. And they've asked about getting into hunting, and obviously I'm not a very good hunter, so we may all nap in a blind and be well rested, but do want to get her involved with it because it is something cool. And I think all the fun stuff is great, but I think what you represent more on a level is what you're doing with the organization you're involved in. I've forgotten their name and I don't have it in front of me.
American
go.
Daughters of Conservation.
Thank you. That's a good plug there. But just doing that.
Forgot the name. Everything
But you're
else
doing a
was
great
good.
job with it. And writing the children's books, you saw a need, and it's sometimes necessity is the great propeller of creation. And I hope, you continue to grow it, and you continue to grow, the younger age of it. And, you have a real opportunity to make a difference.
Real quick,
Yeah.
tell everybody where they can find these books.
Oh, my books you can find on Amazon. My hardbacks, which I can sign personally to whoever you want, you can find them on Etsy.com. So,
So go to Amazon and search Chasing Deers
or chasing
turkeys.
Or chasing turkeys.
Either one.
By
And soon to
Allison.
be chasing ducks.
Bigfoot.
Allison,
Bigfoot,
Allison
yeah.
Vogus.
Chasing
So,
Bigfoot.
That might be a good one
Carry
too.
on.
But so thank you
We'll
for
work
that,
on
because we get it. People that watch our show or listen, they're in a rough spot in life, and they're like, "You made us laugh," and it's that's a cool thing to do because we can't.
Not
they can't-
only people in rough spots in their life.
Yeah, that's
come
true.
To the Wandering Dutchman.
Yeah, we gotta.
I'm in a real shit
Everybody's in a
spot.
rough spot right now.
Yeah, we got a steady crew of like 4 a.m. watchers of this show.
Hell
we
yeah.
do.
And it's
Yeah, we
pretty
do.
cool. So shout out to those guys. But Allison, thanks for coming into the lounge. But it's time for us to go. We've been talking long enough. Go ahead and look at that little camera and tell our fans.
Dutchman out.